Hey guys, welcome back to the Vile J channel. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile for my Dimension Dragon / Lost World deck. This kind of seems like a long time coming for, my name being Vile J, but honestly I didn't have this card for the longest time. And while I was at Springfest, Chicago, just a couple weeks ago, I picked this card up from my friend Elwin. He gave me 2 copies, completing my my set for the deck. So here we go. We're going to be doing the Dragon World, of course, for Dimension Dragons, and the Buddy Rehabilitated Destroyer. Pretty sweet. Just straight up drop 2 of your opponent's cards to the drop zone after destroying their souls. Very cool. But you can't get to him until we get to the Lost World, and how we get there is through this deck. So, while we're playing for the Dragon World, we are pretty much just trying to draw into Lost World or our impact card. For the monsters, I'm going to do 4 copies of Algonia. He can only be called once per turn, but it's worth it for his effect to check the top 4 for 2 cards and then gauge 2 cards. And then to help you survive your opponent's turns, this is like your best option daily. Daily goes ahead and rests your opponent's units. And yeah, that's literally how you're going to survive sometimes. For the last of the high good levels, I'm doing 2 Epsis. He just helps you get a little bit deeper into the deck. I think this one's on Enter, and then this one's on Destroy. So they trigger at different times, but they all want to do the same thing, pretty much get you deeper into the deck and help you live to see your Lost World turns. 2 copies of DK. I really like this guy because of his more love ability to help you get deeper into the deck and to gain life. But since he needs a friend, I only play 2 copies of him. This guy likes to be discarded to gain you resources on coast, which is great for cards like Epsis, because he requires you to drop a hand card, drop this, and get even further into your deck. Speaking of getting further into the deck, I play 3 copies of this guy, Primata, and like most people will be like, oh, well, this is just like some common bullshit card, but it actually, when this enters the field, if you have one of his friends out, you get to draw a card, and he combos really well with the more love ability, which allows you to also draw a card and gain a life. So, I really like this guy for a size 1. For our last, I think it's the last size 1, yeah, is Gazly. Gazly just helps you call back your homies from the graveyard. So cool tech one of, but not super useful in terms of like your overall game plan. So that's the size 1s. For the size 0s, just a couple tech cards. Catatheli, I guess. When this card's destroy an opponent's monster on the field. If you do, you gain life equal to the card's size, so pretty cool. Odio Nexus negates the abilities of guys in front of him, so pretty cool way to shut him off. And he gets better with the Lost World out, so he scales with your deck change. 1 original Odio to redirect attacks. Right, that's how this one works. Oh no, this is take a card from your deck, put it in the drop zone, then put it on top of your deck after you shuffle. So you can like put whatever card you want on top, like your counter cards for your opponent's battle phase. This is the card I was thinking of. Diagain. His counter ability lets you redirect the attack to him. I'm actually thinking about playing another copy of him, but the deck is already so tight with all the like consistency cards and whatnot, since you're trying to get to Lost World of your impact as fast as possible. So yeah, just a couple grade 4 or grade 0s just to round out the monster lineup. Not too many of them, honestly. You do need the monsters in this deck. You need their names, or like you need them as sacrifice. So you do have to play some, even if they are a little bricky. For spells, 3 copies of Desuction. I was originally playing 4 of this, but because you can only play 1 you can only play it once per turn. I was just having dead copies in my hand that I couldn't get rid of. And I mean, it's useful once you're into the Lost World, but I feel like a lot of the times there's better things you want to be doing. Because, like, you'll usually, with 3 copies, you'll still see a second copy to have for your Lost turn. Just because of how, you know, how much the deck thins during your turns as you go through your monsters and stuff. 3 copies of D Endbringer. Pay a gauge to draw 2 cards, and then if you're already into the Lost World, you draw a card and deal 2 damage to your opponent. Pretty good. I like the cards that scale with the Lost World, obviously. 2 copies of D Road. It's just a drop zone call, and I believe it gives your guys a little bit of protection on the left and right. Oh no, it's just anywhere. Anywhere on the field, your Dimension Dragons and Lost Vaders can't be destroyed by battle or returned to hand, and their abilities can't be nullified. I don't know why I was just thought it was just on the left and right, but whatever. Endless Amity, the set spell makes it so your Dimension Dragon monsters and items on the field can't be destroyed by the opponent's card effect, and you can pay a gauge to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put one of the D Dragons or Lost Worlds from among them into your hand, and then drop the rest. Pretty neat. For the other, like, get cards or draw cards, I have D Scapegoat to gain life and draw a card for every D Dragon destroyed. Despair D Raider to put the top card of your deck into engage for each D Dragon on the field, or gain life for each D Dragon. Just to help you survive a little bit longer. Just some cool one-of cards. They're not, like, the best, but sometimes you just need that extra gauge or that extra life just to survive a little longer. Decoding, put the top card of your deck in your gauge, choose a guy on the field, and for this turn it can't be destroyed. And then D Aura Blast, put up to 1 D Dragon item from your deck into your hand, or for this turn the guys on your left and right can't be destroyed. I think this is the card I was thinking of earlier with instead of the other guy, but whatever. Yes, this is the one that protects your left and right. This one protects 1 guy 1 time. A couple protection cards, and then for, like, the main counter cards for this deck, 4 copies of De-Alteration. You nullify the attack of the opponent, and then if they attack 3 or more times, you end this phase. This is particularly good to stock up on in the Rosalia matchup, because they have a second attack phase. So when you're going against a deck with a second attack phase, you definitely want to have 2 of these cards in your hand at the ready, as well as the cost to pay for it, which is having a Dimension Dragon on the field, which sometimes is harder to keep on the field than you'd think, just because of how some decks interact. But yep, end the phase, very good. And to make sure that you live to see that 3rd attack, you have to play D Barrier. You nullify the attack and draw a card, and it's nice, because unlike the Thunder Emperor Shield, you don't have to pay a gauge to do this, but it does the same thing, nullify the attack, draw a card, and I love that about it. So yep, those are, like, the main 8 counter cards that you need to see in order to survive D Barrier and De-Alteration. For the one-ofs, D Decline, drop a hand card, and then give -2 crit to everything on the opponent's field for the turn. And then D Death Struggle to rest a card on the opponent's field. This isn't like a permanent rest though, so I only play the 1 copy of it. If it was a permanent rest, I could see myself playing a couple more of these, but for right now I think the 1 copy's fine, especially because we already have the monster in the deck, Delay, that gives us the counter ability. During each player's attack phase, we can use one of the following 3. If we're lost, we can use 3 of the skills, the same one multiple times. And a lot of times we're going to be resting up to 1 card on the opponent's field, or destroying up to 1 card on the opponent's field to get rid of their multi-attack lines. So yep, it's really useful. And then for the main point of this part of the deck profile is to get to the Lost World. If you somehow at this point have been playing Buddyfight and don't know what the Lost World deck, or the Lost World flag does, it's a flag that you play in your main deck, and you be lost. At the end of your opponent's turn, you choose one of your flags, pay 2 gauge, and if you do, put this card on top of the chosen flag, and you remove your deck from the game. Then you shuffle up your lost deck and put it into the fight. And to make sure that we get to this particular flag, which you have to play at the end of the opponent's turn, obviously, An Impact, D Zenith. I wish I had a 4th copy of this card, but I only have 3. Yeah, D Zenith. At the end of the opponent's turn, you can drop 2 of your Dimension Dragon cards from your hand to put 2 cards from your deck into your gauge, and then add Lost World, this flag card, to your hand. And then Lost World will trigger, and you can play it directly to the field. So, yep. D Zenith, Lost World, that's really the whole game plan of this part of the deck, and to stock up on resources so that when you transfer decks, be gone, your buddy will become available to you, Revolve Destroyer in this case. And I can show you my Lost deck. So, in this particular Lost deck that I play most frequently, I try to mix it up, as in like play a different variety of units so I can see, you know, different game plans every time I get to the Lost World. But any good Lost deck is always, you know, their ace card is going to be Vanity and Destroyer. This card takes the whole Lost deck and places it underneath the Vanity and Destroyer face down, and then once per turn during each player's turn, you can take 1 card from underneath the, you know, the buddy, the Vanity and Destroyer or whatever, and add it to your hand. So he's a super cool card, super awesome ace unit with lifelink lose. You can't lose the game as long as he's on the board, so your opponent's gonna have to deal with that Soul Guard, and it's one hell of a Soul Guard. Plus 70,000 power, 2 crit, and triple attack. Not bad. So I play 2 copies of him, since you know, you just need to see 1. You can only call him once per fight, and you know, the whole deck is in a soul, so yep, 2 copies. And then 2 copies of my buddy, Rehabilitated Demonic Dragon Vanity Revolve Destroyer. Your opponent can't gain life. This card on the field can't be destroyed or rested by card effects. And then his Dimension Door Turnabout ability. When he attacks, I can choose up to 2 cards on the opponent's field, drop all the souls from the chosen cards, and put the chosen cards into the drop zone. That gets around so many different protection abilities. It's insane. I love him. He's so cool. For the rest of the monsters, though, we're going to play 2 original the Vanity Husk Destroyer. Can't gain life. He's got the Dimension Door Origin and can't be destroyed by the opponent's card effects. Important to know that these guys don't cost cage or anything. You can just throw them out. They don't have sizes or anything. So he has 3 critical and double attack, and he has 5 critical and penetrate. So they're both packing like pretty solid stat lines. For the last of the destroyers, I play 1 APOC Destroyer Buddyfight. He does have a cost. You have 2 gauge and put some guys from your field into the drop zone. Oh, sorry, just put a Lost World monster from your field into the drop zone. Can't be destroyed by the opponent's card effects, and Dimension Door Impetus. When he enters the field, choose up to 1 card on the opponent's field, and for this turn, the chosen card cannot remain on the field. And put the chosen card into the drop zone. So I think that gets around Soul Guard. It's kind of like Revolve Destroyer, but with different wording. But he also has 50,000 power, 3 criticals, and double attack, so definitely not bad. This is my Destroyer line, and Destroyer is one of my favorite units in the entire game. So obviously I gotta play him. It's my favorite. He's the GOAT. I mean, he's not as Modai, but as Modai's different. He's not like a giant dragon. He's a fucking sexy demon guy. Anyways, for the rest of the monsters I play, since like I said, I like to switch it up. We're gonna do 1 Gargantua Lost Dragon, 1 Cross Astrologia, 1 Agito, 1 Bloody Eye, and 1 Nearlands, or what is this guy? Guiltlands. So, in the show, Ranma has rivals and allies, so I like to play, you know, his 3 rivals in the show and his 2 allies. Well, he has a 3rd ally, I guess, but the Lost Zerberos doesn't leave Ancient World to go to the Lost World, I guess. I don't know why. He's like, nah, I think I'm good on the whole Lost World thing. I'm just gonna chill in Ancient World. But the other 5 are fair game, I suppose. So yeah, I got Yuga's, Subaru, what's his name? Misato? Right? Sedan, and what's the chess kid's name? I don't remember. Whatever. Purple hair chess kid. Anyways, yeah. So pretty cool. Just play all the buddies from the anime, pretty much. And Destroyer. And then for items, 1 Lossless Heiser and 1 Lossless Buster. This one drops your opponent's hand cards with double attack. So you drop 2 of theirs and you gain 2 of your hand cards. And this one has protection, penetrate, and triple attack with 3 critical. So, yeah. Oh, he can also attack if you have a guy in the center, which this guy can't. So, give and take. This guy's good for taking care of the opponent's hand and gaining your own cards. And this one's good for finishing off your opponent in, like, a hurry. I don't really know which one I like better right now. Because, like, obviously this one's really good. But this one, if you don't have a bunch of units on your field, it costs 3 gauge. So it's like, it kind of sucks when you just draw this as your first card in the Lost World. Whereas this one will actually, like, get you deeper. And a lot of your cards have counter, so it works out a little bit better. But yeah, 2 options for the weapon in this particular Lost deck. And then for the spells, you can't have a Lost deck really without Dimension Draw. This spell just allows you to draw 3, ditch 2, Graceful Charity, if you will, but for the Lost World. And then for other, like, advantage card, Invasion of the Deep and Vile. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put up 2 from among them into your hand, the rest into your gauge. Pretty simple. Oh, but you have to have a Lost Raider on the field, so any Destroyer will do, if you will. For the other, just like advantage cards, Battle of Valiant, counter, draw 2 cards, gain a life for each of your guys. Dimension Wave, top 2 into your gauge, gain 2, and draw a card. And then some restanding cards, Dimension Slayer, counter, you can stand all cards on your field, and then you can attack during the final phase with your units. If you stand 3 or more, you get to draw a card, so it just scales with your units. It's pretty sweet. Dimension Cruelty can rest a guy on your opponent's field or stand a card on your field, so either way, it's pretty sweet. For taking care of the opponent, Day of Devastation. I'll just move these cards out of the way. Day of Devastation, counter, destroy all your opponent's card. Destroy all monsters on the opponent's field and deal 1 damage to your opponent for each card destroyed. Or, for this turn, all cards on your field can't be destroyed, returned to hand, and their abilities cannot be nullified. That's a pretty devastating day for your opponent. Dimension Restraint. Choose up to 1 card on the opponent's field for each of your guys, rest them, and they can't be restood this turn. So it's kind of like an upgraded form of the spell we play in the Dragon World deck. Dimension Drain. This one's just pretty simple. Nullify an attack by the opponent and gain 10 life. It's good. I don't know if there's anything else to say really about gaining 10 life other than it's good, especially when you're nullifying an attack at the same time. Distortion Wall. This is really going to help you survive to your following turn against some matchups. For this turn, damage you take is reduced by 3. That includes effect damage. So if they were trying to burn you, even though you have like a big, like 10k body in the front, they're not going to be able to if you have the Distortion Wall. And it's cool having cards like this because you draw a ton of cards into the Lost World deck on the first turn you get here. So you're often going to see like some of these random one-of cards that come in clutch. Dimension Denial, another one of those one-of tech cards that comes in clutch, just nullifies the spell by the opponent. Some people play a lot more of these, but I like to see what my opponent can do before I shut them down in the battle phase and show them that they never stood a chance against me. But enough of that. Those were the spells for the Lost World. And for my 2 impacts, I'm playing 1 copy of Vanity, Destruct, Vanish. You just restand one of your guys. It gets Penetrate and 5 critical, and then you can swing with it during your final phase. I don't really need to say that that's a pretty solid ability to have on your units when they're already packing like 3 to 5 critical and like double attack penetrate and 50,000 power. Like, they're pretty strong. So this card just finishes the job. And if, you know, something like this doesn't, Vanity Zero Blazer will just deal 10 damage to your opponent. But you have to have 2 or more Lost Vaders on your field. So like this one you can just use with one fancy, like one destroyer and just take them out. But Vanity Zero Blazer, you're going to have 2 guys, even if it's like one giant guy and one little guy on the side. So just important things to know. And yeah, the Lost World deck is insane. It's super cool, super unique in the way that it plays. And you're pretty much, once you get to the Lost deck, you have a very good chance of winning. The problem of getting to the Lost deck is drawing like the few cards that you need out of your main deck, like your Lost Flag or D Zenith. I wish I had a 4th copy of D Zenith because it allows you to have a higher chance of drawing it during the opponent's opening turn. If your opponent goes first and you're going second, and you're able to see any of these 5 cards, you're going to be in a really good situation because you're going to go into your Lost World deck with almost a full hand. Yep, that's the deck, guys. I guess I'd just clarify again that the most important part of this Dimension Dragon deck is like the D-Alteration and D-Barrier to survive to see the Lost World. And some of the draw cards, like maybe D-Suction and like the consistency guys, Epis and Algonia. Once you see these kind of things in rotation, you can dig really deep into the deck, so you can build like the perfect defensive hand around a Lost World. So your end hand, like if you're going first against an opponent, you want to have like 2 copies of Alteration, a D-Barrier, and a Lost World, or the equivalent, plus the cost in your hand. So you want to have like something like this built up in your hand after you're done going through all your draw cards and resource gaining cards. That way you can, you know, potentially draw into a D-Dragon or something. You can nullify the 3rd attack and the phase. They can go for another attack phase potentially, and you can do an end to that one as well. Then you can guarantee you survive, essentially. Play the Lost World flag, and then go in on your opponent once you change decks. Because you can't buddy call, obviously, in my particular build until you change flags. So, yep. Thanks for watching my deck profile, guys. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you enjoy buddy fighting in the future. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and remember, vileness rules.